All right, hello everybody. Welcome to African American History. My name is Mr. Sweeter, and I'm going to be the teacher for this class. So first off, it's nice to get a chance to talk to you, and I hope I'll get to talk to many more of you and get to work with you in live class. And looking forward to having a good class and a good experience here. So this is African American History, as I previously mentioned. You'll see the top picture here. I put this kind of artist rendering of, I thought was a good representation of African American history with I Am a Man. We'll be talking obviously a lot about the Civil Rights Movement, but we'll also be talking about the African American journey from slavery to the present, okay? And we'll look at the syllabus here in a little bit, but let's jump into it. So at the top of the page here, you'll see we have the African American History live class and recordings. That's how you get to live class and also the recordings. So when you click on that, and hopefully this may be familiar to both new and previous students. So it's locked right now, but it'll be open for live class. You don't want to click on this top one here. You want to click down here where you see the second one, okay? So when you click on that, you'll be able to join the live class. And our live classes are Tuesdays at 2 o'clock p.m., okay? Live classes on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock p.m., okay? Now, let's say maybe you missed live class, or you're not able to attend live class, or for whatever purposes or whatever reasons. If you look over here at the hamburger menu, what we call the hamburger menu, because it kind of looks like a hamburger almost, you click on that, and then here you click where the recordings are. Now, obviously, there's nothing there right now, but as we go through semester 1 here, you'll begin to see those live classes pop up, and they'll have titles and dates, and things like that. I think they also tell you how long the recording is, and things like that. But that's where you can find the recordings, okay? So here's my contact information along with my wonderful picture there. It's an older picture from last year in our old office. We're in a new office now next in Pennsylvania, but I haven't changed much, okay? I still pretty much look the same, and you'll be able to see that when you come to live class and things like that. Our office hours, or my office hours, I apologize. Thursdays, 3 o'clock p.m. to 4 o'clock p.m., and Fridays, 2 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m., okay? All teachers will most likely be available on Fridays from 2 o'clock p.m. to 3 p.m. in the drop-in center, and then Thursdays is my personal office hours in the drop-in center, okay? If you can't meet me during office hours during those times, that's okay. During those days or times, just let me know. And we can definitely schedule an appointment. There's a link to the drop-in center there. I believe that's still working. If not, please let me know if it doesn't work. My email there, sweeter@achievementchar.com, and my work phone there, 484-800-802. Okay, 484-800-1802. You can call me on that number. You can text me on that number. Just give me some time to respond if I don't respond right away. But that's how you can get a hold of me, okay? So here's just another announcement about our live class day and time. Tuesdays at 2 o'clock p.m., okay? Just another couple of things here on the side here. We have the grade book. That's where you can see a lot of your grades. We also have OneNote class notebook. I might be trying to use that later this year. We'll see. And Clever SSO, which is where you can get to Achieve 3000. Those of you who are familiar with that, and some of the other tools we'll be using. But if we do need them or use them, I will let you know how to get to them as well. Okay. Also, remember that African American History is a semester 1 class, so that means it lasts from the first quarter, August 26, 2019, to January 17, 2020. Okay, so the first quarter is August 26, 2019 to November 1st, 2019. Second quarter, November 4th, 2019 to January 17th, 2020. Okay, sounds like it's a far time away from now, but when it comes time to wrap up the class, I will definitely explain how we're going to do that, okay? You'll see you have a couple of folders here, so we'll go over them. So sometime during the first week or when you get started here with the class, whether it be the first week of school or after that, if you click on the blue folder here, and you'll see the Getting Started explanations are there. We have our syllabus, we have my contact information, office hours, also our class expectations, and our plagiarism policy, the school's plagiarism policy. Okay, so please take a moment to look over all of them when you get a free moment. Let's take a look at our syllabus. Oh, my apologies. Let's go here. Take a look at the syllabus here so we can kind of see what we're going to be doing this year and what we're going to be talking about. Okay, sorry, the font got a little messed up there. But you'll see here we have We're going to be looking at primary sources, and if you don't know what those are, that's okay. We'll explain that later on. It's a semester-long class that will take an in-depth look at Black history in America from enslavement through the present. Okay, we're going to learn about changing social, political, and economic discrimination African Americans faced from slavery through the Jim Crow era. We'll talk about that during the Civil Rights Movement. And also we'll be talking about the achievements and contributions of African Americans and their contributions and achievements to the United States. And by studying the past, we will have a better understanding of, like I said, we'll talk a little bit about some of the current events and things that African Americans are discussing and facing in our country today. The class meets once per week during semester 1. The day and time are listed below, Tuesdays at 2 o'clock p.m. All the information is on the Schoology page. I would strongly encourage you, as I'm sure many of your other teachers and staff at the school will encourage you, try to keep up with the assignments when they're due. I know people get sick and, you have trips and school events and sports and things like that. And, things happen in life that we don't plan for, obviously. But try to keep up with the assignments. Because what happens is when I find, and I'm sure many other teachers will say this too, when students tend to let things go to the end of the quarter or, to the end of the week, they get backlogged and then they get stressed. And I'm not saying maybe you work best under stress, and that's fine, but I would highly recommend you try to keep up with the assignments when they're due so you avoid that stress. Because remember, it's not just my class or our class that you'd have work doing, it would be other classes too. And that's when we find a lot of kids get stressed. So try to keep up with the assignments when they're due. Also, come to live class. I like to talk to you. I like to get your opinions and hear what you have to say or what your thoughts are. That's what makes live class interesting and fun. I try to make live class interesting as fun as much as possible, and I do go over a lot of the lessons, a lot of the questions, and things like that. So please try to attend live class. If you can't attend live class for whatever reason, please, obviously watch the recordings as well. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about this year? In quarter 1, we're going to be talking about the history of slavery, how it got started in Africa, and also African kingdoms, talking about colonial African Americans, the American Revolutionary War and African Americans, a new nation, what life was like for African Americans after the country gained its independence from Great Britain. We're going to compare and contrast the way of lives for free African Americans and slave African Americans. We'll talk about the United States Civil War and African Americans, and also how slavery ended. That'll be quarter 1. So that takes us up until about November, okay? Early November, 2019, I should say. Quarter 2, we'll talk about Reconstruction and struggles for African Americans. Talk about, new opportunities for African Americans around the turn of the century. We'll talk about World War I and the roaring 1920s for African Americans, the Great Depression, World War II and African Americans, and then we'll talk about the Civil Rights Movement. We'll talk a lot about that, and then after the Civil Rights Movement, we'll talk about some of the more modern things that are going on for African Americans in more recent times in terms of a growth of African American culture and influence, such as the election of 2008 with President Barack Obama. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that, so we'll definitely try to talk about some of those things as well. Okay, so with that said, we can go back here to our home page here. So that's our syllabus. Here's our home page again. After that, there will be times for extra credit opportunities, so please take advantage of them. I will take advantage of that. I apologize. I will definitely let you know if there are extra credit opportunities and when you can complete them and how you can complete them and how they work and things like that. There's also this new folder. I'm trying this year, the school year weekly summary. So I'm going to try to post at the end of every week, probably on Fridays, hopefully Friday afternoon maybe, a summary of what we did that week, okay, and give you kind of the brief bullet points from the lessons, okay. So maybe it's a couple of sentences, maybe it's, hey, on Tuesday we talked about the Underground Railroad, and I'll give you a couple of bullet points. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't watch the lesson or, take that to use to, to answer the questions. It's just going to be a quick summary of what the lesson was about and the major points of the lesson, okay? Kind of like a refresher. So check those out if you need to. You don't have to, but I think that might be helpful for some students to kind of get the brief main ideas of what we talked about. Here's our previous week's folder where you can find the previous week's work, the lessons, the assignments, things like that. And then down here I have, sorry, my voice squeaked there. I have our resources, okay, additional help and information. We have Schoology help. We have Achieve 3000 help. Like I said, when we get to Achieve 3000, we'll talk more about that. And then for your parents as well, for parent login information, how parents can check your grades or things like that. Okay, so that's basically a quick summary. I know I kind of talked kind of quick, and I apologize for that. I am kind of a quick talker, so if I ever go too fast, let me know and tell me to slow down. That I'm going too fast. Sorry, my voice is squeaking today. But please, obviously always reach out to me, and I'm looking forward to get to work with each of you, get to know each of you, and we'll have a good class. Okay? Hope to talk to you all soon. Take care, everyone, and bye-bye.